In August, the Humboldt Harbor Working Group was before the Board of Supervisors with the county. And we said to the county, we need to have master permits, we need to have mitigation banking, so that we can go ahead and initiate development on the bay, on the harbor. And 3 years, none of that's happened. The supervisor said it's a good idea, let's start working on it, but nothing's been done. So we've invited Dave here to give kind of a history on the last 3 years, what's happened to him, his experiences in trying to develop his dock on the bay, on the harbor, on this side of the peninsula. And following that, then I'm going to ask questions because it is the Harbor Working Group's intention that we will collaborate with other civic organizations, Kiwanis Club and groups like this, to go ahead and go to the Board of Supervisors, ask for funding from Headwaters, ask for additional funding and a specific program to get going on a master permit and mitigation banking. That's been done. We may get activated. We've been tired of waiting, so we kind of lost our patience. So we as a group are going to go through and try to advocate and push something forward. The question following David's presentation is going to be, one, what organizations can you bring to the table to help us do this? And two, what kind of speakers would you like to hear for the next few months that's pertaining to obstacles for development on the bay? We'll take notes and we'll try to come up with some package or some plan in terms of how we're going to proceed from here. But we do intend on getting very proactive in the next few months. We're going to ask for your participation, your assistance, and we'll keep you notified. Any assistance that you can give to us, as far as your time, your talents, even money, will be greatly appreciated. But this has come to the point where we have to get proactive and we need to start seeing some results. So with, we'll let Dave go ahead. Oh yeah.
Let's everyone identify themselves around the room, go around the room. I'm Pete Oringer with Timber Heritage and other things in this group.
Well, you know Dave, I'm Larry Henderson, chairman for the Harbor Working Group. Starting with you, Charlie.
I'm Charlie Bean, part of the Working Harbor Group and many other things.
Mike?
Mike Kellogg, Timber Heritage Association.
So Carolyn Standridge, caregiver.
Go ahead.
I'm Michael Stump. I'm a consultant working with the city on a manufacturing job study.
I'm Dula Freitas. I work at the city of Eureka.
Karen Brooks, spend my day at the Office of Education and part of the Humboldt Harbor Working Group.
Greg Sparks, Eureka City Manager.
Kenny Carswell with Security National.
I'm Glenn Allen. I'm just a tourist interested in Humboldt, and I love this restaurant.
Rob Mullins, City of Eureka.
We'll start that way.
Oh, sorry. Tim Callison, Security National.
And everybody here?
Tim Patricia, Harbor District.
Doug McMurray, retired pile driver.
Good.
Jan Crane, East West Rail Advocate.
I'm Becky Reese, travel agent, and I'm here with the Eureka Chamber of Commerce.
Ken Swatsky, nice stir in the pot.
He does.
Good, we got it.
Cindy Roberts Thomas, Economic Development and Business Consultant.
Vince Thomas, retired he's the Vice President General Manager for Pacific Choice Seafood for 20 years.
I'm Bruce Sievertson, Timber Heritage Association.
You're right, Driscoll, pot stir.
Tina Christensen, HAR Realtors, and Home CPR, and other officers.
Dennis.
Dennis Mayo, I'm the chairman for the California Association of Water Agencies. I'm also the president of the Indigo Community Services Division.
Monty Provo.
Debbie Provo, Humboldt Title.
Harry Wrestling International Conference Warehouse Museum.
Did you hear from Marion, by the way?
Yes, Marion was down at St. Helena having a procedure done. She's now back in Eureka.
Marion Brady, the
City Council person from the city of Eureka. And she's doing okay, sleeping more than normally, and being taken care of here in Eureka.
She's a member of the Harbor Working Group.
And she sends her best.
Yep, yesterday, I think.
Yeah, Monday.
So if it's okay, Dave, you want to take over?
Sure.
I think most of you kind of know who I am, but I am retired now, so just more tired than retired. But I've been a marine engineer on Humboldt Bay for most of my life, and I guess I could not quite say I'm older than dirt for around here, but I could say that I rival some of the dreg spoils if you read the book. So I've been around here quite a while. I guess before I can talk about where we're going and where I think we're going, this is just a discussion I'm having. I had this discussion with Larry. He said, why don't you come over and talk to the dredging group and have this discussion with him? And it's a discussion. It's not, it's not like you're sitting down after arguing with the spikes and with a spouse, and she says, I got lots of words. So it's a discussion. But anyway, where have we been? Where has Humboldt Bay been? And where are we going? Let me ask you this. What was the last infrastructure that we put on Humboldt Bay, that was done on Humboldt Bay, for commerce, for import-export? What was that? What year was it? Anybody have any idea?
1979.
1979? Okay. We have an old salt here. What was it?
Old salt. I'm not riding the motorized bike.
She's right. In 1979, North Coast Export was built to export ships. You know? And we should have seen right there, that was the beginning of the end for us. Okay? Because at that time, we had 11 docks that imported or exported goods out of Humboldt Bay. 5 on the Eureka side, or 7 on the Eureka side, 5 on this side. Okay. What the heck happened here? Now we're down to 4 docks, and they're struggling. Okay. Why did this happen? Well, in my mind, as our new president has said, we are exporting jobs. Our jobs are going. Okay. Well, we were one of the first areas to see that happen. And you know why? Because all these businesses that we were regulating, all they had to do was move across the street. We were regulating these people out of business, and they were being sued by special interests. We were making it difficult on them. So, gee, let's just go across the street. We're still on the same chain, and we can run our business at half the cost it takes to run the company. So they went to other countries, okay, and started it. Those jobs that were here, those jobs still exist. They just don't exist here. We had them out of here. So now we're down to 4 docks left that are still in operation, but how long will they be? It's a difficult world to do business in California. We're in the most regulated place in the world. We're doing business in the most regulated place in the world. It's a lot easier to do business in a lot of other places other than right here. And that's the problem you're all running into. Okay. Why don't we encourage people to come here? Why don't we have harbor jobs and things like that? Why would they locate on this highway, okay, with all the problems we have? Let's say, for instance, dredging, okay? We used to have, the harbor used to be open right now. Now we can get a shipload of cargo out 6 months out of the year. What would happen if Highway 101 was closed for a month. You think anybody would locate here? What about if the fiber optics went down for, what if it went down for a week? Could we get any technical people to locate here? No, we're not. And we have the same problem with trying to get people in here now. Gee, you know, we go to China, we try to expand our business, and they say, well, what percentage of the year can you get a full shipload of logs out of there? You have to admit, we can only get it out of here 6 months out of the year. So no one wants to locate in a harbor where you can only get it in and out 6 months out of the year. So that's our first problem, okay? We went, I got more deeply into this when, as a doctor, okay? I know all the problems in keeping my dock open, you know? It's difficult to impossible to dredge it, okay? Every day I'm turning around and some special interest group wants to sue me for operating my dock. And it's just difficult to get commerce here because no one wants to locate here. So, as a poor businessman, and you said, well, maybe I'll build a dock, or look at building a dock on the Fairhaven side of the bay. Okay? A full-service dock could service all of the peninsula, you know? And so I start to get into the permits and looking at them, and holy smokes. It was going to cost $1.5 million and take 3 years to get the permits at the soonest. Now, who in their right mind would come to Eureka and say, gee, I want to develop a business here. How soon can I get the permits? Later than 3 years. Well, holy smokes, in 3 years, we don't even know, you know, who's going to be president. You know, we don't know what's happening. No one will wait 3 years to get permits and develop a business here. It just doesn't happen. So I decided I would go to the bank and see if they would loan me the money to do these permits. And the guy, you know, quizzes me, he says, well, how's your dock doing down there? What percentage of the time of the year? Well, you know, maybe 1% of the time. How long after you built it did you have to wait for cargo? Well, I built it in 94, I had to wait roughly 20 years, you know, to get cargo there. And he said, well, how do you make it? Well, I can't dredge it. I can only get out of the harbor with a half shipload. And at that, questionable. And he said, what do you think? You know, you already have a dock that isn't functional and you want to try and build another one, you know? So it made me sit back and kind of look at what I was thinking. What am I thinking? Okay. What are some, you know, how are we ever going to get business in there? With the fact that it is so difficult, it takes so long to get the permits, and so, you know, there's only a couple alternatives. But let me, before I jump into that, let me talk a little bit about, let me give you some specifics about how difficult it is to do this. Let me get some of the things that we encountered here and encountered with our dock. We used to take the spoils from other docks when they would dredge their docks and would bring them across our dock, and they would go to upland escape. Okay, and just last year, Chevron says, "Oh, we're going to bring in some spoils. We're going to get rid of it." Okay. Now you got to understand, spoils are now classified as hazardous waste. Anywhere you take them, you have to monitor where they go. And so we said, okay, the only place they could go with them, and this was Chevron, one of the only industries who's probably afforded dredge anymore because they're going to tack the cost on your fuel, they can afford to do that. So they were going to bring them across our dock, we were going to load them out and take them to Anderson. Okay. Well, one of the agencies, and I won't say who, said, wait a minute, you're classifying this as cargo coming in there? Sorry, we can't do that anymore. Because it comes in on a barge, we have to unload the spoils, put them in the yard, and then reload them on a truck to haul them to Anderson. Okay? It's not, we can't classify this cargo anymore. It has to be, you have to get a special coastal development permit to do this. You have to monitor it, you have to monitor the groundwater, you have to monitor the material. Wait a minute, we can't do that. First of all, it would take a couple of years to get a permit. And so we said, we're out. And so Chevron had to take them to another dock outside of the city and handle them. And they trucked them clear to Anderson. 2,000 yards. I could never afford to dredge 2,000 yards of my dock and truck it to Anderson. So they also come up with the fact that, that's not cargo because we consider cargo, and let me read what the definition of cargo was. Since the definition of coastal dependent development or use requires sea to be able to function, we interpreted cargo as something that is loaded onto a ship at a port, leaves that port, sails to another port, and is offloaded for the ship. In other words, land, sea, land. Staff cannot conclude that dredge spoils would fit into the land, sea, land scenario. So, where do all of these guys who want to dredge their docks and take it out, how do they get it to shore? We're not going to consider land, sea, land. If we're only seeing land, sea, land. I don't know if I should say that. It's right there.
David?
Yes.
What do they consider fish?
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. This is
I
what
smell Eureka sometimes.
It was just
Spoils.
this is the problem. Okay, and let me give you another quick example. The city of Eureka is trying to dredge their boat. And they have to, even though they can't go to the best alternative for disposal, they have to go to ocean disposal. Well, they have an in-house guy, a very smart guy, who just happens to be on the wrong side of the fence. He is processing these permits, okay? And in the process, he talks to the Corps, talks to everybody, okay, you don't need to get a permit for mitigation for eelgrass because you've mitigated. I did it the 2 previous times because you've already mitigated for it. So you don't need to get a permit for the eelgrass. And he takes pictures of it, and I see the pictures in the emails. There's only a couple shards of eelgrass in there. And no big deal. But being, a responsible person and being an eelgrass committee, hey, listen, you guys want to go over and get those shards out of there and transplant them for me? Just out of the, just to be environmentally good guy. And he sends it to everybody, baykeeper, all of them, and then he contacts the Department of Fish and Wildlife. And says, hey, listen, we're gonna try and get out those. We only have a couple of weeks to do it. We're gonna try and get those shards out of there. And the guy at the Fish and Game, or Department of Fish and Wildlife, yeah, okay, and baykeeper, all of the people in Brest, yeah, let's do this. It'd be a good little project, So Sounds good. He gets back to the office and gets another email from Fish and Wildlife from another person in there that says, hey, listen, you talked to a marijuana specialist. You didn't talk to me. You need a permit. You got to get a permit. You've got to do a plan. And this guy who's been on the permitting side, you know, he reads this and he says, you know, WTF, you know, well, we're just trying to do a good thing here. And so he writes back to her and says, you know, we're just trying to do the right thing here. We don't even have to do this. Why couldn't you just say, well, it sounds like a good idea. Why don't you go ahead and do it and we'll move on. But this is the attitude that we're getting from regulators, you know, is the fact that they don't want to help you or figure out a way to do it. They want to figure out a way to stop it. And so it's the attitude of the regulators. Let's make it difficult. Let's see if we can slow them down or slow this project down. So consequently, projects like that one, before that, it took us 3 years to get the permits. And it wasn't that difficult of a project. So where do we go from here? Where do we go? How do we, you know, how do we get jobs here? First of all, it's going to be very difficult, okay? We're competing with the rest of the world. It's going to be difficult to get jobs in here. And you have a window, okay? A window for these jobs that's about that big because of your zoning. Coastal dependent industrial zoning. You know, it is just, I can't say, it's just totally wrong. I've been fighting it all my life. It's just a bad zone. It's a very small window of things. And tell me, you tell me, what industry absolutely has to be on the water? What industry has to be on the water? Tell me. I can't think of a one. Like, Tim could go Longview. They 5 or 6 companies export logs out of Longview to dock at Longview. How long's on the water? You have oil terminals. You have all these things. They're not on the water. Anything that you have to ship by water, you have to load on a carrier or have some means of getting to the ship to put it on. It could be miles away. The chip facility, it could have been clear over here, and they could have conveyed the chips down there and get them on the ships. So, to me, coastal dependent industrial is just, it's like a dead zone. You know, it's like open space. If in 1979, if you're so set on this zone, in 1979, if we had zoned 25 or 50 acres of land, coastal dependent industrial. You know how many acres of land coastal we would have now? 50 acres. You know? Why not open this window up? Get rid of that zoning. Just make it industrial. Just make it straight industrial. I've never understood what is the difference between an industrial job and a coastal dependent industrial job. They get paid the same. And our chances of getting industry in here, coastal dependent industry, look at what we've done since 1979. It's just not going to happen. In today's political climate that we have here, it's probably not. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So, thank you for being so tenacious. Pull this stuff out. What are the 3 docks on the bay you provide?
Okay, there's 3 docks. Of course, our dock, we export logs. North Coast Export, they export chips. There's the Chevron dock, and which brings fuel in. And there's the other facility in Eureka that exports chips also. Okay, that's that. And what are they? Okay, what are we doing here? Okay, we're exporting those resources. We're exporting those resources to the same companies that were here. Same, you know, they're going to pulp mills. They're going, you know, They're going, the logs are going to China or Asia, and they're being processed, and they come back in a box. Good, yeah.
Yeah, I listened to what you said, Larry, and I recognize a lot of the people in here. And I've been a big advocate for the harbor, and a big advocate for what is wrong with the harbor. And, you know, if you don't get the will of the people to change the policies on this harbor, you know, you go out, you say you're gonna reach all of these groups and do this, well, I'm behind you 100%. And I'll reach out to the groups I do. But you need more than that. You need the will of the supervisors, you need the will of the city councils, you need the people to understand the marijuana industry is not going to support all of us.
Amen.
And we need to have other viable industries to put our children into and our grandchildren. And you can be leaders in the community and you can address all these things, but I'll tell you, when I go to the meetings, it's Debbie and I at the meetings. It's Debbie and I at almost every meeting that has anything to do with the county general plan, anything. So until the people in this community start rising up and addressing it with our public officials, we're not going to get anywhere. Rob, you're doing a great job with the city. You know, where's our county and everything else trying to fill the potholes, or even the city trying to fill some potholes? You know, or working with the homeless, trying to do all of that. We're in the same phase we were 20 years ago. And David, I think you're the most progressive thinking person I know on this harbor. You need a harbor district that's going to be behind you to do that, and you don't have that.
Well, you're right, Gene. Expanding on that a little bit more, what has every politician that got elected said to us? Right, we want jobs. We want to develop jobs on the bay. But have any of them ever followed through with it? Okay, they haven't. Here, let me finish on this, Larry, and then I'm going to turn it over to you. One of the things that the biggest problems we have, like I said earlier, we are the most regulated place in the world, okay? And those people, you know, the state, on the most part, are not going to help you in getting it through, okay? So the only way we can't tell, we're not going to get anybody here, we tell them, listen, it's going to take you 3 years to get a permit here. Before we can turn a shovel, you're looking at 3 years for a permit and another 6 months to build. We do, and that's because when we go into the water, we have so many jurisdictions when we're in the water. When we're on the upland, we pretty much locally control that, okay? But once we get into the water, we have Corps, and we have all of the federal agencies, Coastal Commission, everybody. We need to circumvent that time by getting that permit in the water, doing that infrastructure, okay? We have a fence right now at our water line, okay? And we need to tear that fence down. We need to get permits for infrastructure over the water. Let's face it, if we have a slide down here on 101 and we can't get traffic, we're down there with pick and shovels cleaning that sucker out and getting it up so that we can get business here. Let's get our permits for everything water work, dock, whatever we whatever we need, so that we have something that somebody comes to town and says, you know, I'd like to build a widget factory here. And yeah, okay, we have the permits for the dock. All you need is to go locally, get the permits for your manufacturing facility. In 6 months, you can be shovel ready. We have to tell them, listen, you got to go get a permit for your dock or for all your infrastructure in the water, and it's going to take you 3 years. They'll be gone just like everybody else that came here. They're gone. They're not. You can't do that. No one's going to be 3 years down the road.
Yeah, you talked about what people can do in different personas. For years, I've been livestock buyer out in the country. And when I bought livestock, I always kept my eyes open for hay. And I bought a lot of hay for hay brothers. Today, what I do, working for the California Association of Water Agencies, I deal with the Interior Department and the Bureau of Reclamation a lot on California water agencies. Every time I talk to the new, and believe me, the Trump administration has made some replacements in the Interior Department and the Bureau of Reclamation and in the Army Corps. There's a young gal now who studied water in here and grad percent in water and science. She used to be with the Army Corps, and her job this afternoon was working on Salt River. That's a real good connection. That's a great connection to somebody who understands our area. The whole deal about water to land to water, that definition of cargo, and our whole issue of fighting for years to get a permit every time we dredge can be corrected legislatively by an act of Congress. These guys in Interior and at the Bureau are launching at the bit to do stuff for us they can't do. If we can prevail on our legislators to come up with just one bill, an act of Congress that changes that definition of cargo. Sometimes there's a top-end way to work on this stuff, and we have to do that. So everybody that you talk to, every legislator that you know that isn't Huffman, we talk to him a lot, but you know other legislators, you have to push these ideas to them. Perhaps we can prevail a little bit in those areas.
I agree, but in the same respect, we have regulators who interpret those guidelines and things any way they want. You know, we need for them to interpret it to where, what can we do? How can we help this project? How can we move it forward rather than how can we slow it down? You just need a different mindset in the regulations to do it. And how do you do that? You know,
Dave, let me go ahead and take over.
okay.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
I'm going to return and ask for the questions to be asked, but I want to kind of put some format on this. And I did not coach Tina before, but you hit the nail on the head. The political will, community will. Like I said, 3 years ago, we talked to the Board of Supervisors and saying you need the master permit, you need this mitigation banking. Nothing's been done. That's what we're looking at doing, and addressing, going back, talking about the various groups. Do you or do you not want to get on a bus? Do you or do you not want to see development on the harbor? The big lie out there is that that's not what the community wants. They do not want to see business on the harbor. We've had 3 years to test it. That's not true. So the Humboldt Harbor Working Group is going to start getting aggressive. Our question, we're going to ask I'll call on you, but I want to leave two things today. One, any organization that you can think of that we can connect with. Two, who you would like to see in terms of being at the luncheons. The next few months, who can we contact for this kind of presentation? And also the working group, we're going to start getting back to our normal meetings the last Monday of every month. The designation has been at the union, but I think that's going to be changed, but I'll be sending notices out in terms of when the meeting. So starting in September, the last